Bonjour, bienvenue à notre réunion de midi. Nous avons deux annonces pour vous aujourd'hui avant de prendre vos questions. Et je commence donc par inviter Thomas à me rejoindre avec des bonnes nouvelles pour l'Ukraine. Et des bonnes nouvelles pour l'Ukraine, c'est des bonnes nouvelles pour nous.
Tout à fait. Merci, Paola.
Voilà.
Today, the Commission adopted an important recommendation for Ukraine. We want to fully associate Ukraine to the EU's governmental satellite communications program, also known as Govsatcom. Why is this important? Because defense and space go hand in hand. We have already associated Ukraine fully to our defense programs. It's now time to do the same for space. Associating Ukraine to Govsatcom will ensure secure space connectivity. This is vital for Ukraine's competitiveness, for the country as a whole, and for its citizens, and it will also create additional synergies between Ukrainian companies and European companies. It is now for EU member states to give the Commission a mandate to start the negotiations.
Thank you, Thomas. And now let me wish a warm welcome to the 23 Romanian influencers who are joining us in the press room today. I hope you enjoy your time with us in Brussels and in the press room, and I will give it a try at my Romanian. Bine ați venit. Good to have you with us. And that's it for our announcements, and we are taking your questions. Jorge.
Hello, Paula. I have a question about the press conference that we just seen with the President of the European Commission. She was asked point blank, very explicitly, if she would consider the option to issue joint debt instead of putting forward the reparations loan as an alternative to the loan. And she did not reply to that question. In fact, she said that the European Council asked for potential options to technical questions about the reparations loan. So does this mean that the Commission is not considering joint debt as one of the options, or is the Commission considering joint debt as an alternative? Because it's really not clear now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. And as you understand, I will not say more than the President herself said. And indeed, she said that, first of all, she was appreciative and grateful that the European Council reiterated its commitment to cover the financing needs of Ukraine for the years 26 and 27. And she said that we are looking at the immobilized Russian assets, and explained also in that context what it consists of, and says it is a sound proposal, but not trivial. And hence, there are questions to be answered, and that's what we are looking into, and we will come with it. Whether this will be accompanied with other options or not remains to be seen. We'll need to wait, as I also mentioned yesterday. So we're taking forward the request from the European Council to look into the topic, to reply to outstanding questions, and our colleagues are working precisely on this in view of a decision by the European Council in December. Yes, Jorge.
Okay, thanks for the clarifications. So just to be clear, because it's really not yet clear to me, when you read the word options in the conclusions of the summit, you understand it as options for the reparations loan, maybe different options under the proposal, but then you said that it remains to be seen if there will be options that do not involve the Russian assets. So you're saying that this options paper could not include anything that is not related to the Russian assets, because last week the Belgian Prime Minister, with whom you are in touch, said quite clearly that he would like to contemplate at least the option of joint debt. So all the options that you're going to put forward are all involving the Russian assets, or they could also include non-Russian assets? Thank you.
As the President also said it herself at the press conference last week, the focus are the immobilized assets. That remains the focus. And then if there are other options that will be put forward, we'll have to wait. That's also building on and not building, echoing what the President just said also in a reply to a question last week after the European Council, that the focus remains the immobilized assets. Yeah, there.
Angela Scoogens from TVP World. It's regarding the press conference, and apologies if I've misquoted von der Leyen, but in my notes I have her saying the reparations loan is a legally sound idea, but the Belgian Prime Minister inferred on Thursday the exact opposite, that if it looks and smells and feels like confiscation, it is confiscation. Can you clarify that how this is legally sound? Thank you.
We've listened to what are the concerns and notably expressed at leaders' level at the European Council last week. That's why there was not a final decision yet. We're looking into those questions, we're looking into those concerns, and making sure that we can come forward with something indeed which is reassuring and which addresses the concerns that have been expressed. And there are a number of principles that have been reiterated also by the President herself in terms of we commit to respecting international law. This is absolutely critical. And so it's within that and in that framing that we're looking into it and making sure that we address the concerns that were raised and the questions that were raised notably by the Belgian Prime Minister last week. Yes, there. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. You need to use the mic.
Yeah, I just wonder if you can tell us anything about the interactions between the Commission and Belgium, the Prime Minister's office. Are there any meetings that have happened since the UCO? Is anything set up to kind of work through this discussion? Because we did understand that the legal proposal landed very late before the Council. It didn't give them time to go through it carefully. Yeah, anything you can tell us about what's going on there?
And do you mind just reminding us the media you represent?
Finicor for Politica.
Thank you. So we are in touch at various levels, of course, also with the Belgian authorities to understand, to make sure also at technical level, not just at the level of the leaders, that we have a clear understanding of what are the concerns and addressing them in view of the next steps, which is indeed to prepare then the next European Council in December. Oui.
Bonjour, Olivier Baube, AFP. Je voulais savoir si la présidente avait eu l'occasion de s'entretenir avec le Premier ministre norvégien aujourd'hui ou hier, je ne sais pas très bien quand elle est arrivée à Stockholm, et si le sujet d'une participation éventuelle de la Norvège à l'utilisation des avoirs gelés a été évoqué. Merci.
Oui, je ne suis pas en mesure de confirmer si une discussion dans ce sens a eu lieu entre la présidente von der Leyen et le premier ministre norvégien. Je suis tout à fait d'accord. Lors du Conseil nordique, ils se sont rencontrés. Je ne suis pas en mesure pour l'instant, je devrais vérifier s'il y a eu une réunion bilatérale où ils auraient pu s'entretenir là-dessus. Yes, first the lady here in the front.
Hi, Eleanor Regan from Politico. My question is on a different topic. The Irish Council for Civil Liberties filed a complaint with the Commission today about the fact that Ireland has appointed a former tech lobbyist to its data protection regulator. They said the process lacked procedural safeguards against conflict of interest and political interference. I'd like to ask, is the Commission aware of the complaint, if you're looking into it, and if you have any comment? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I understand you want to come back to the previous. I will get back to you, David. Let us just get Guillaume reply to the question of the appointment to the data protection body in Ireland.
Indeed. So what I can say, it is for the member states to appoint members to their respective data protection authorities, and they need to respect the requirements enshrined in the legislation. So EU law requires the members of the national data protection authorities to be appointed by means of a transparent procedure, and that they have the qualifications, the experience, the skills, and in particular in the protection of personal data required to perform the duties and to exercise their powers. So the Commission is not involved in this process and is not empowered to take action with respect to those appointments.
Thank you, Guillaume. Other questions to Guillaume? No? David, we come back to your question on the previous topics.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Paola. David Carretta, Radio Radicale. In fact, I would have a follow-up on the issue of reparation loan and the interaction with the Belgian government, because the announcement by the President was made on the 10th of September during her speech on the State of the Union. I mean, 1 month and a half has passed, and on the 10th of September, the parameters of your proposal were already in the speech of the President. First question is, did you consult as Commission the Belgian authorities before putting forward, before the speech of the State of the Union? And the second question is, what can change in the next weeks or month, I don't know, because if the parameters were set in the speech of the Union, then you presented a non-paper or an option paper, I don't remember the name, before the Copenhagen Summit, another paper after the Copenhagen Summit, which was much more clear in terms of details and so on. What can change in the next week in terms of option for the use of immobilized asset? Thank you.
Thank you, David. As I had the opportunity also to say yesterday, I mean, these are uncharted waters. And the Prime Minister said it himself, the Prime Minister of Belgium. This has never been done before. So obviously it does trigger questions that need to be answered. It was very beneficial since the moment that the President announced it at the Soteo in September until now, and that is actually a very short time between September and October to further elaborate on the topic, even though this had been already looming as an idea. I would claim that it's rather short time to really go in depth and explore all possible angles, all possible questions that may be addressed. So that time was actually crucial. And we saw last week, there were still questions that needed to be replied, notably at a very technical level, because we have never ventured in this type of proposal and in this type of measure. So all of that is very beneficial, and it shows that we still needed some time, and that, and notably, also the Belgian authorities had some questions and wanted to be reassured. And we're using precisely that time to look into those and come forward with answers which are reassuring and which allow us to take forward the very clear request from the European Council, which is committing to addressing the financial needs of Ukraine for 26 and 27, and see what are the ways that we have to address those needs. Navalny. Vitaly.
Thank you, Vitaly. This is over. Freedom. On reparation law, today Belgian Prime Minister met Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte. Are you in contact with NATO, and do you coordinate your efforts on reparation law with NATO? Of course, NATO, it's not EU, but maybe. Thank you.
We are coordinating, we're reaching out, we are speaking with all those concerned. You know also that, for instance, last week also at the European Council we had Madame Lagarde, we had Mr. Donoghue. So obviously we are consulting, discussing with all those actors who would be concerned by this proposal. Yes, here.
Hello, Yulia Sarevan, Journal TV, Republic of Moldova. So my question is on Moldova. Obviously, you wanted to ask about the fact that the European Union extended the sanctions imposed to so-called leaders of Transnistria. So if you could please elaborate on this, tell us when the decision was made, where, by whom, is the Krasnoselsky on the list, and what the sanctions mean? Thanks.
Julia, indeed, yesterday the Council has extended the sanctions regime concerning the restrictive measures against the leadership of the Transnistrian region of the Republic of Moldova. And this applies to persons responsible for the design and implementation of the campaign of intimidation and also closure of the Latin script schools. And in terms of the listing, because I know what you would like to further ask, it's currently empty at this stage.
On the list or no?
So you can answer your question. I just said the list is empty.
Yes, on this topic, no, on a different topic. Let me. Yes, please.
Hi, Evaldas Lubanauskas, Lithuania Radio and Television. It's on sanctions. Yesterday in the evening, Commission President posted that attacks regarding incidents on the border between Belarus and Lithuania. And she said, if I am correct, it is a hybrid danger. Does it mean that Commission account those acts from Belarus as hybrid attack? And if so, can we think, or European Union can think on Lithuania to help to impose sanctions according to hybrid regime, something like that? I think European Union do have some sanctions which is based on hybrid threat. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Let me indeed put into context your question. You referred to the President von der Leyen, and indeed through a social media post, she took a position on these helium balloons that have been flying over the Lithuanian airspace, to the point that they have led to the closure of the airport in Vilnius several times over the past week. And in this context, the President expressed solidarity with Lithuania and said it is a provocation, and indeed it is a hybrid threat which we cannot tolerate, and it is a very good argument, and I'm quoting her still, for the readiness roadmap and the flagships in it, the Eastern Flank Watch and the drone initiative that we are taking together. Now, what this means in terms of possible other actions, you refer to sanctions. This has not been raised by the President, but it is clear that we're taking it seriously, and that the President considers that this is a hybrid threat. We have not mentioned any sanctions in this context at this point in time. Yes, please.
Zaza Bashidze, Real Politica from Georgia. So my question is about Black Sea security in Georgia. So last week the Russian company Rusneft sent the first cargo of the oil from the port of Novorossiysk to Georgia, testing for the newly opened oil refinery in Kulevi on the Black Sea. And media reports also revealed that the refinery's owning company is linked to the GRU, the Russian's Foreign Military Intelligence Agency. So what is your assessment of this development in the context of Black Sea security, of course, in the context of war in Ukraine, and Georgia's position as a EU candidate country, and its alignment with the, priorities of the EU's foreign policy? That's my question. Thanks.
Thank you. There are various angles to that question. I don't know, Anita, if you're in a position to take any of those.
I think what we have seen from the Georgian authorities is that they are continuing on a route that is not conducive to anything constructive in building a positive relation, although we would like to see that. I don't know if Anna Kaisa would have something more on the energy angle, but on the candidate country status as such, everything has been said in terms of democratic backsliding and all the actions that the authorities are conducting. Anything further, Anna Kaisa? No? Okay, that's it.
Yes, if you have anything to add and compliment, Anita, we don't let you go yet totally, but just to compliment, if you have any further element, Anna Kaisa, on this question.
On the developments that are taking place now that are related to the sanctions and oil companies, etc., we need to zoom out a little bit as well and to see that there's a lot happening in a very, very short span of time now in the region. And this does not change in how we conduct our policy and how we conduct our diversification policy. So aside of what Anita said and then what colleagues from who cover the enlargement policy more specifically, as regards the energy security supply issue and the energy policy issue, our aim is to gradually and effectively stop the import of Russian gas and oil from the European Union. And given Georgia's candidate status, we support all our candidate countries in their diversification efforts and in aligning with the EU's objectives, and in this case notably on energy policy. So here, this is really the only thing I can say on this development from the energy policy angle. But we are seeing, as you have all read and as we are reading daily, there's a lot happening now in a very short span of time that does have an impact in the energy policy in the region more broadly. But from the Commission's point of view, it does not. We are very determined and we have a very, very clear policy of diversifying away from Russia as regards energy. And this is something that we are fully supporting our candidate countries as well as our member states as well.
Thank you, Anna Kaisa. I'll call Anita back just to see if we have more foreign affairs questions for Anita. Yes, Valentina.
Thank you, Valentina Vassilieva. Votak, top political advisor to Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Balázs Orban, told Politico that Hungary is looking to join forces with Czechia and Slovakia to create anti-Ukrainian alliance inside the EU. Ukrainian skeptical alliance, to be precise. So, first of all, does the European Commission have concerns about that? And do you have any tools to stop this to happening, keeping in mind that support for Ukraine is one of the main points for European Union policy? Thank you.
Thank you. I will start with the last point. Support for Ukraine is crucial. This is all. This is where all our efforts are going into. As a matter of proof, we have just adopted the 19th sanctions package against Russia. The decisions, as always, on sanctions are in unanimity, and Hungary was part of it.
Yes, good to recall. Unanimous support to the 19th package of sanctions, which means support by 27 member states. Still to Anita. Yes, please.
Tatiana Vysotska, European Pravda, Ukraine. I want to stay on the Hungary's topic because today Minister of Foreign Affairs of Hungary, Peter Szijjártó, is visiting Minsk, capital of the Belarus, and I'm wondering what is the Commission's position on that, because Belarus is helping Russia to have the aggressive war against Ukraine. So what is your position, and will you contact the government of Hungary to talk about these visits to Moscow, to Minsk, to other places? Thank you.
Thank you. Fortunately, I'm not his spokesperson, so I cannot comment on his actions. From our side, again, once more, we need unity when it comes to actors that are conducting hybrid threats, attacks against Ukraine, against our neighborhood, such as Russia, such as Belarus. So all this is not sending a good signal.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Valeria Pashko, Public Broadcaster of Ukraine. It's on sanctions. As far as I understand, the 20th sanction package are already developing by the Commission, and it was said that the EU is coordinating the sanctions with the US. So do you consider putting pressure on Rosneft, which was done by the US, and probably other Russian oil companies like Surgutneft, which President Zelensky called for on Friday? Thanks.
The ink is barely dry on the 19th package of sanctions. And I think our colleagues are still recovering from the intense work that has led to this adoption. One thing at a time. But in terms of the principle of cooperation with our international partners, absolutely. It's not new. It's not. It was not just in the case of the 19th package. This is something we've been reaching out to our partners, because we know that obviously we can have a greater impact with these sanctions if we coordinate it, if we do it along and together with our partners internationally. Vitaly.
Thank you, Vitaly Sizov. Freedom. President Zelensky said that he developed some plan of ceasefire, which will be ready in a week or 10 days with allies. Do you know something about this plan, and are you involved in the creation of this plan of ceasefire? He said it in an interview to Axios, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. We're always in touch with President Zelensky, with all our counterparts in Ukraine. The High Representative has been also recently there, and discussions are ongoing when it comes to ensuring our support to Ukraine for a just and lasting peace, and also including through the coalition of the willing.
Thank you. Yes, Eddie.
Thank you. You recently mentioned that technical level discussions with the Taliban have been taking place. I wanted to ask whether the most recent exchange did occur, and whether the aim is to reach some form of agreement with them. Basically, what is the Commission trying to achieve with these discussions? Thank you.
For Anwar, let me see, Eddie, first if we still have questions for Anita. I think we're having many questions on foreign affairs. If you don't mind, I'll give other colleagues the opportunity to ask questions, because we are yet at the foreign affairs, and I see other topics. So if no other for Anita, I would then ask Anwar, because I also see that there are a number of questions for Anwar. Maybe there's one final, maybe still for Anita Mose, because I see it's on Ukraine.
Sorry, the same question to Anwar about the Middle East. Thank you.
So it seems, Anwar, we're waiting for you. Starting with the question on technical discussions with Taliban. Do we have more on that?
Bonjour, thank you for the question. We will revert back bilaterally on this technical question with technical details. Thank you very much.
Need to look into it, Eddie. Okay, we'll get back as soon as we have elements for an answer. I have, yes, please.
Bonjour Anouar, Masmouk pour Impact SN. Ça concerne la présidentielle en Côte d'Ivoire. Alors, l'Union européenne, en amont de cette présidentielle, s'était engagée pour des élections apaisées, crédibles et participatives. Est-ce qu'au vu des résultats annoncés, vous vous y retrouvez? Comment appréciez-vous le déroulement du scrutin de façon globale? Ça, c'est pour la Côte d'Ivoire. L'autre concerne la présidentielle au Cameroun. Au Cameroun, les choses étaient un peu plus tendues. Alors, on parle de fraude. Le principal rival du Paul Biya reconduit estime qu'il y a eu des fraudes. L'ONU appelle à la retenue et demande une enquête. Alors, du côté de la Commission, comment vous appréciez cette situation? Merci.
Merci pour la question. Oui, parfait. Merci pour la question. S'agissant de la Côte d'Ivoire, l'Union européenne a suivi de près l'élection présidentielle. Les résultats définitifs n'étant pas encore connus, l'Union européenne réaffirme l'importance de garantir que le processus électoral aboutisse pacifiquement, conformément aux normes internationales. Voilà notre réaction quand il s'agit de la Côte d'Ivoire. S'agissant du Cameroun, l'Union européenne prend note de la proclamation des résultats de l'élection présidentielle au Cameroun par le Conseil constitutionnel le 27 octobre. Nous rappelons que notre partenariat avec le Cameroun, partenaire de longue date de l'Union européenne, repose sur l'accord de Samoa qui promeut les principes de bonne gouvernance, de démocratie, de respect des droits de l'homme et de l'état de droit. Nous soulignons, dans ce cadre, l'engagement commun à respecter les libertés d'association, de réunion et d'expression, également consacrées par la Constitution du Cameroun. L'Union européenne exprime sa profonde préoccupation face à la répression violente des manifestations qui ont eu lieu les 26 et 27 octobre derniers, et nous déplorons la mort par arme à feu de plusieurs civils. Nous soulignons en outre l'importance de garantir la sécurité et l'intégrité physique de tous les acteurs politiques de ce processus. L'Union européenne invite également les autorités camerounaises à identifier les responsables, à faire preuve de transparence et à faire justice afin de lutter contre le recours excessif à la violence et les violations des droits humains. Nous appelons également la libération de toutes les personnes détenues arbitrairement depuis l'élection présidentielle. Et pour finir, l'Union européenne invite toutes les parties prenantes à faire preuve de retenue et à s'abstenir de toute action susceptible d'exacerber les tensions. Nous encourageons tous les acteurs politiques et sociaux à engager rapidement un dialogue constructif afin de préserver la stabilité et la cohésion nationale et de promouvoir les valeurs démocratiques et les droits de l'homme. Voilà quand il s'agit de notre réaction, quand il s'agit de l'élection présidentielle au Cameroun.
Merci Anouar. Et j'ai Pierre Benazé en ligne, aussi pour Anouar. Pierre, tu nous écoutes?
Et ma question, d'abord une question de suivi, et je poserai l'autre directement sur le Soudan pour des raisons techniques, j'ai des problèmes de connexion. Y a-t-il une explication particulière à l'absence de représentation diplomatique à l'annonce des résultats officiels à Yaoundé hier? Et ma deuxième question est quelle est l'évaluation aujourd'hui du SEAE et de la Commission européenne sur la situation au Soudan?
Merci Pierre. Sur ton premier point, aucun commentaire. Sur ton second point, l'Union européenne est gravement préoccupée par l'intensification des hostilités à El Fasher, capitale de la région du Darfour au Soudan, et par la prise présumée du quartier général des forces armées soudanaises par les forces de soutien rapide. Depuis plus de 18 mois, les civils d'El Fasher subissent un siège imposé par les forces de soutien rapide qui a entraîné des pénuries chroniques de nourriture, d'eau et de soins médicaux, tout en étant exposés à des bombardements constants. Des centaines de milliers de civils restent dans la ville dans une situation d'extrême détresse. Dans ce contexte, l'Union européenne appelle toutes les parties belligérantes à désamorcer la situation, conformément à la résolution 2736 du Conseil de sécurité des Nations unies. Les civils doivent être protégés et doivent avoir accès à l'aide humanitaire. Nous suivons de près la situation avec nos partenaires et nous veillons à ce que toutes les violations du droit international humanitaire et des droits de l'homme soient documentées. Nous mettrons tout en œuvre pour que tous les responsables soient identifiés et rendus responsables des atrocités qu'ils ont commises et continuent de commettre, car il ne peut pas y avoir d'impunité.
Merci Anouar, et merci aussi de soulever ces questions qui d'attirer notre attention sur d'autres pays, d'autres régions dans le globe où malheureusement il n'y a pas toujours des bons développements. Alors, je vois encore pour Anouar, Noureddine.
Merci Paula. Anwar, I want to ask you if you have a reaction regarding the Houthi militia attacks against the United Nations and NGOs, employees and workers in Yemen, and if you have a reaction of the European Union towards the direct attack by Israel against the UNIFIL, the United Nations forces in South Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you, Noureddine. The European Union strongly condemns the new arbitrary detentions by the Houthis in Yemen, and in particular the storming of the offices of the UN Special Envoy for Yemen and the Food and Agriculture Organization on Saturday, together with the seizure of UN property in Sana'a in blatant violation of international law and the Vienna Conventions, providing for the inviolability of diplomatic premises at all times. We call for the immediate and unconditional release of all detained personnel, and we warn that detention of humanitarian aid and international organization staff will only lead to further deterioration of the situation on the ground and thereby affect the Yemeni population in need of aid in Houthi-controlled areas. We will continue to call for respect of the freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, and we demand that all threats against commercial vessels are halted. This is for the situation in Yemen. Maintenant, quand il s'agit du Liban et des frappes contre la FINUL, l'Union européenne condamne l'attaque israélienne qui a de nouveau visé un détachement de la FINUL le 26 octobre dernier. Il s'agit du dernier incident d'une série d'événements similaires survenus ces dernières semaines. L'Union européenne rappelle que tant la sécurité que la sûreté du personnel et des locaux des Nations unies doivent être garanties conformément au droit international et à la résolution 1701 du Conseil de sécurité des Nations unies. Nous réaffirmons également que toutes les parties doivent respecter pleinement le cessez-le-feu du 26 novembre 2024 et appelons Israël à se retirer de l'ensemble du territoire libanais.
Merci Anouar. D'autres questions pour Anouar? Pas dans la salle, donc il me reste Mose en ligne.
Yes, thank you very much, Paula. Musa Broadcasters Times. This is a follow-up question to our discussion yesterday about the fragile ceasefire in Gaza and the breaches by both sides as regards the commitments to preserve this ceasefire. Hamas has not returned all the seized hostages, and Israel is not delivering enough humanitarian aid to Gaza. And furthermore, the border crossing in Rafah has not been opened. My question is about this civil-military coordination center which has been established in Israel to supervise the ceasefire in Gaza. Can I ask you, Anwar, what EU countries currently participate in that center? And do you think, are there any plans for EU as a whole also to take part in the center, for example, via its military committee? Thank you.
Thank you, Mose. On the ceasefire and the comprehensive plan itself, we call on all parties to fully implement the agreement without delay, allowing for the establishment of a lasting ceasefire, the release of all hostages, and the access and sustained distribution of humanitarian assistance at scale into and throughout Gaza. Now, in terms of the situation on the ground and the international stabilization force that you have been referring to, and the center on the ground, the EU is exploring the best way to support this civil-military coordination center. This is what I can say at this stage. As to the specifics, I cannot develop further from this podium, but we will revert back to you as soon as we have more to say on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Anwar. Other questions to Anwar? No, it's been a comprehensive set of questions on the foreign affairs. Then we can move on to different topics. Any other question? Yes, please.
Philip Bedosvin with the Norwegian media Energi og Klima. Today, the European Court of Human Rights delivered its verdict on the Greenpeace, Nordic and others versus Norway case. And in the judgment, the court decided that while the Norwegian government is not guilty of having failed to protect the right to life and private life of the claimants, it does have a responsibility to consider the climate effect of emissions already when licensing oil and gas fields in Norway. So, as the EU is the major consumer of oil and gas products from Norway, I'm wondering what is the reaction to this verdict, and is the EU concerned that this verdict might in the future limit the supply of oil and gas from Norway?
Thank you. I think you're referring to a lawsuit that had been introduced by young people claiming that the activities of the fossil fuel producers were putting into question their future and their livelihoods. Just to confirm that this is what you have in mind. And indeed, there was a decision today by the European Court of Human Rights. I don't know if we already looked in detail into the decision that came out of it. Anna Kaiser, would you know more?
We will look into the details of this judgment, and as usual, we do not make a comment of any judgments that have been made. More broadly, obviously, Norway is part of the European Economic Area, and as such is also part of our clean transition goals and our efforts to clean our industry and our economy. So obviously our cooperation with Norway continues to this effect. But your question was on the court ruling, and we do not comment on court rulings. And on this one, obviously, we will take a good look at what it says.
Thank you, David. For trade, yes, we had Anna Kaiser already, so I guess we have exhausted the questions to Anna Kaiser. Go ahead.
Thank you, Paula. It's on trade and Ukraine, in fact, because yesterday at the Agricultural Council there was a discussion on unilateral restrictions by some member states that still apply against agricultural product from Ukraine, and the minister from Hungary said clearly that Hungary will not lift its unilateral ban, even if there is a new agreement, a free trade agreement with quotas, and basically that was the solution that you proposed to those member states that were affected by some disturbance from Ukraine. So since this story is becoming quite long, it started in 2023 and we are in 2025, are you going to act against member states that impose unilateral measure against EU legislation? Thank you.
David, and indeed you're referring to the DCFTA, on which Ariana can also tell us more, stepping in for all of today.
Indeed, and David, I think you were already in touch with the team earlier on this matter, but I'm of course happy to provide here the same answer. Indeed, you know, we had reached, I think, back in June an agreement on an EU-Ukraine deep and comprehensive free trade area. This is actually going to enter into force tomorrow. As we had said at the time, and as we have repeated time and time again, it will ensure that both the EU and Ukraine benefit from enhanced, stable, fair and permanent trade framework. For what concerns the specific questions you were raising, look, we have said it already, we are engaging with all parties to try to find solutions. At this stage, we have the DCFTA that is entering into force tomorrow, and we will take it from there at that point.
Yes, a follow-up, David?
Yes, thank you for the follow-up. Don't you think that it could be a precedent for other free trade agreements that you have concluded where sensible agricultural products are at stake? I'm thinking, for example, of Mercosur, because member states, there is a precedent for member states to impose unilateral measure against the EU law. So if you don't act on such an important issue like Ukraine, why other member states should not impose unilateral measure tomorrow for Mercosur or any other free trade agreement? Thank you.
Thanks. As I said, I think we have a trade agreement that is entering into force tomorrow. We have been in contact with the parties. We will continue to engage with the parties to work on the best solution. We will start implementing the agreement as of tomorrow, and we will take it from there.
Thank you, Ariana. Other questions on trade? On trade? Yeah, go ahead.
I got a follow-up on the trade agreement with Ukraine. Did I understand correctly that some bordering countries, they have some protective measures which they introduced before the new DCFTA agreement starts to work tomorrow? So tomorrow, these measures introduced by bordering countries, they will be eliminated or they are staying? With the start of the new DCFTA agreement? Just to clarify, thank you.
Look, I think these are questions that are best addressed to the bordering countries. They have these measures in place bilaterally, and it's for them to say when they will be lifted or not. From our side, what we can say is, as of tomorrow, we will have the DCFTA entering into force. You know very well that we believe this is a stable, fair framework that can be reliable both for the EU and for Ukraine to ensure a gradual integration in our single market while providing stable trade flows. So, of course, we very much stand by implementing this proposal as quickly as possible. But for the other questions, the member states are best placed to reply.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Janos Almbach, Table Media. Just to be clear as a follow-up on this, like from a point of view of EU law, these restrictions have to stop tomorrow, right? Because for the new trade agreement.
I will repeat it for the third time, then perhaps I'm starting to become really quite repetitive. We have the DCFTA entering into force tomorrow. We are engaging with all parties to find solutions. We will, of course, continue to do so, but we have an agreement entering into force tomorrow. We will take it from there.
We'll look in particular into this question because it's been several of you repeating what, if any, restrictions are still foreseen in the DCFTA, which is coming into force tomorrow. We'll get back to you on this very precise questions. Now, if not, indeed, we do expect member states to abide by the DCFTA and their provisions as entering into force tomorrow. Other questions? on trade for Ariana stepping in for Olaf? No. Other topics? I have one hesitant hand there.
Sorry, I'm Paolo from the Brussels Times. I have a question about the recently downgrade on the protection status of wolves from strictly protect to protect, which is currently under court review. I would ask the Commission to clarify what concrete peer-reviewed scientific evidence formed the base for the proposal. And additionally, how the Commission ensures transparency, since this affects, for example, national wolf policy in Sweden. Thank you.
Thank you. Question on wolves, that would be for Maciej. Hasn't been in the press room, hasn't been raised in the press room for quite a while.
Yes,
Maciej.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you for your question. When it comes to wolves, as you know, we changed the protection status of the wolves in the Habitats Directive back in spring. It entered into force, if I remember well, in summer, and now member states have a period that I will confirm with you. I don't remember by heart this period to put it into implementation, to start applying this new protection standard. In any case, from our point of view, member states have to comply with the Habitats Directive. Wolves under the Habitats Directive, they are still protected. And therefore all member states, including Sweden, they have to maintain positive conservation status of the wolves.
Okay, thank you. Other questions to Maciej? No. Other topics? Sandor Giros, online.
Hello, yes, it's on the spying allegations related to Hungary. I would like to ask Balázs to give us an update on how this internal scrutiny group works, if there are any details available for us in terms of, how this investigation is going. And also another question, a group of MEPs demanded last week that the European Commission and President von der Leyen removes Commissioner Várhelyi. Is the Commission considering this request? Thank you.
Balázs.
Good afternoon. There's not much of an update I can provide today, as you may have presumed. The internal work is ongoing. We have created an internal group which is looking into these allegations, and this work is ongoing at this point in time, so there's nothing I can report to you today. On the other question, the letter has been received and we are studying the content of it.
Thank you. Other questions? No? Then we come to an end of our midday today. Thank you for your participation and wish you a good afternoon.